Grief and loss taught me lessons about money that I would love to share with you, because these two, grief and money, are connected in ways most people do not realize, and it's just hidden in plain sight. Now, one of the things that I learned about grief and money is that there is a cost that comes because of lack of planning, the cost of not planning. How? Losing a parent can be, losing a parent is a it's one of the hardest things any human being can go through, and especially when that parent is your provider. And that's exactly what happened to me. I lost a parent when I was 16 years old, that's 23 years ago, and I was in Form 2. And that parent was the only parent remaining. I have shared previously in my engagements on different media platforms about my story of loss, and that led me to write The Victor in Every Victim, my first book that I will show you in this video. And that loss, going through that loss, has shaped greatly the way I see money, the way I handle money, and also life, because there is something that grief does to you. If you look in hindsight, incredible lessons. And this first lesson is the cost of not planning. Now, when my father died, he was the last member of my family to die. I lost my sister, my brother, then my mom, and now my dad in my nuclear family. And when my father died, the cost of not planning hit me like a thunderbolt. Why? This is because when my father died, the income stopped, because my father was my provider. So there was no income. He didn't have any income generating asset that would have continued with the income. I realized then that I had to literally get help from my relatives. And this is not to say what they did was not, I'm really grateful for them helping me, because they're the ones who helped me at that desperate moment. But it hit me so hard that you are just one step from poverty, because then imagine you cannot even provide for yourself basic needs. You have to depend on other people. That's poverty. And that actually, I think, was my wake-up call. And it really made me to reorganize my life and to think about my life and my future in ways that really changed the way I see money, the way I do things. So grief has a way of actually helping you reorganize. And the other thing that grief does, the second thing, is you cannot pretend. You cannot pretend about grief, because it's a reality. It's something that is real. When you lose someone, you cannot smile your way through it and act like everything is fine, because it's not fine. And the same way, when you look at money, if you do not have money in your bank account, you cannot just act that like you're okay. If you do not have investments, income generating investments, income generating assets, you cannot just pretend. It's the same way. The way grief, you cannot pretend that you've lost somebody, you act like you're okay. It's the same thing with money. Real financial freedom starts from the moment you stop pretending and actually face what is the real thing that you are going through. All right. The other thing is grief helps. Avoidance makes it worse. Now, there are steps to grief and loss, and when we avoid those steps, what happens is they get magnified later. When you suppress it, it will come out in other ways. It will follow you. It will show up when you don't even expect. The same way with money. If you do not have, for example, if you have debt, you cannot just pretend that or avoid that you do not have it, because what happens is the interest keeps increasing, the debt is still there, and one day it shall come to bite you. And that's a very incredible lesson that I have learned over the years, that the same way you have to heal when you are going through grief is the same way you have to heal if your financial health is not okay. Because if your financial health is ailing, you have to treat it. You cannot just avoid it, because when you avoid it, it will show up in the way you spend, in the way you in the way you live your life currently, and you cannot avoid it. So the best thing is to sit down, look at what is real, and decide to deal with it there and then. Not tomorrow, but now. The other thing that, the fourth thing that grief has taught me when it comes to even handling money is that grief teaches you resilience. Let me tell you, when you go through grief, you do not know about tomorrow. You do not know what will happen to you. You do not know how you're going to recover from that loss, because that loss comes with love. This is somebody you loved. It could be a parent, it could be a friend, it could be a spouse. This is someone you loved. And so you wake up every day hoping to be better, and for sure you get better, of course, as you deal with that loss and that grief. You show up for life even when it's painful. You still show up. It's painful, but you show up. You choose to keep moving. You don't know how you will keep going, but you somehow keep going. And financial stability requires the same. It requires sacrifice. It requires resilience. It requires discipline. It requires to keep saving, to keep building. And when you do these things, when you do this, it helps you to keep going, to keep moving, even when it's hard. And this is how resilience is built. And through resilience, through endurance, this is how character is formed. Last but not least, grief has a way of reorganizing your priorities. You ask yourself the real questions. What am I really here for? What am I really living for? Like, it clears your path. Yes, in that turmoil, grief comes sometimes to clear our paths, to show us what is more important. And when you look at it from a financial perspective, if what you are spending on doesn't reflect on what you truly value, if you're just spending to please, if you're just spending to fund habits, to fund opinions and lifestyles that are not even yours, then you are not building a life. You are just busy. And that's not how it's supposed to be when it comes to money. You need to have what I call purpose for your money. Let your money fund your purpose. Let your money help you reorganize your priorities on what you should spend on. And if you do this, I believe it's going to change how you see money, and definitely how you how the money that you are making, the money that you are spending, will go even beyond you as a person. This is FinBiz Nuggets. My name is Steve Mushiri Mushangi, and see you next time.